and then we will get. Right. So I want to remind everybody, hi, welcome to Career Search Lunch and Learn. I'm Linda Brubaker, and this is a job seeker or career seeker support group for all those who are in transition or thinking about a transition. Whether you're looking for a next forever job, whether you're trying to decide where you want to grow up, many of us are, it doesn't matter. The idea is you've got transferable skills, and we want to be able to help you to find those skills, highlight those skills, leverage them to find something that works for you in that next forever role. Okay. And so that's what we're all here for. It is networking and support. The more we share, the more we ask questions, the more we answer, the better off we are, because that way we really get to provide that support for one another. And honestly, that's one of the things I love about this group, is that the chat usually gets very active. And so I will warn you now that because my normal chat watcher isn't here, I may miss some things. So if I miss something, go ahead and call me out. As we're getting started, remember to put your information in the chat. We want to be able to connect with you. So a clickable link to your URL is very important. And tell us new to the group. Please type new all in caps. We'll try and find you and get a chance for a couple of you to introduce yourselves. As we get going, if we have questions, okay, please put the word question all in caps. It's another way of us trying to find you. And I really like it when people can raise their digital hands so that we can call on you and make sure that your question or your comment gets seen as well. If you don't know where the raise digital hand function is, it's at the very bottom of your screen. Okay, it looks like a little hand. If you can't see it, just wave your hand in the air and we'll try and find you that way as well. That said, let me introduce myself. I'm Linda Brubaker. I am a career transitions coach, and I've been doing this for the last 8 years. In that time frame, over 918 of the people that I've worked with in one way or another have gotten offers. I say that only as a reminder of the fact that what we're doing works. We know that these connections work. We know that these meetings work. And what I'm telling you is based not only on those 8 years of career transition coaching, but also on over 20 years worth of experience in human resources, as a human resource hiring manager, as a human resource business partner, as an internal recruiter, a manager of talent acquisition, and an external recruiter, a headhunter. I also do a lot of research and connect with all of my colleagues in talent acquisition as well as in the hiring fields, so that I'm always aware and constantly checking to see what's current, what's new, what's working, and what's not. So that's one of the things that I wanted to tell you, that we're doing all of this. Now, I'm doing this as my way of giving back. And I've been doing this now, I just double checked, since March of 2020. So these Lunch and Learns have been ongoing. One of the things that I do, and I said that this is a no sales zone. Here's my only sales pitch. I'm going to put it in the chat, is that I fund these programs. Okay, one of the ways that I can do this give back is through my private coaching. And I see some of my private coaching clients here. So if you're interested, my contact information in the chat. Okay, I would love to work with you on any aspect of your career search, but that's my only pitch. Now that I've done that, for those of you who've been here before, you know that we usually start with quick wins. So if you have a quick win, please raise your digital hand and let's talk about what that is. Okay, we share that with one another to give each other support. Now, quick win can be you reached out to somebody and you made a networking contact. It could be you had an interview and it went somewhere, or maybe it didn't. It could be whatever it is you wanted to do. You gave yourself permission to try something new. So Lisa.
Hello, everybody. I was doing a bunch of stuff. I worked at an event. That's what I'm looking for, is an event communications, that type of job. So I was working event with Brenda Miller, and in between that, in the very beginning, maybe a couple days ago, she was asking me how things were going, and I told her I had applied for a job, that I was afraid to kind of reach out and to the director. And she said, just go for it. They can only say no. So I did that. And then I came back after my event and found another job. I applied for it and I reached out to the hiring manager that I didn't have a connection with, and the uh, president of the company, and I reached out to her too, uh, which is kind of that's outside of my element, but I did it, and you can only get a no. She responded back to me,
Which
and
one?
the president of for the job that I applied with yesterday said that they're
Nice.
going to be looking tomorrow, and I connected with somebody else, with Brenda again, Brenda Meller, who's really a good person to follow, and she actually knows this person and reached out to her, and so we'll see. I have a
That's
good feeling.
fantastic. So
Yeah,
did you reach out to
I was
them by email or on
I
LinkedIn?
reached out messaging because I had started following the president of it's a for Chamber of Commerce. I started following her maybe last month because I kind of liked that company and responded a couple times on her post or somebody else's post within that company. So we'll see.
That's
I feel good.
fantastic. You
Yeah.
should feel good for a couple of reasons. Number one, you went outside your comfort zone. Number
Oh
two,
yeah.
you made those reach outs, those comments. Number three is that what you did is you started the pre-work beforehand. It's not a cold outreach if you've actually been following the company or making comments on some of their posts. They can see that. So that's absolutely fantastic. Congratulations. Keep us posted.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else have a quick one? I see over here. Andrea. Nope, your hand is,
No,
oh,
just
your,
an
that's
applause
it.
for Lisa.
Okay. Sorry about that. Good.
That's okay.
Okay. Anyone else have a quick one? Dave,
Well, I got a phone call from Ohio Health about a physician office specialist position I applied for last week, and they gave me a very brief interview and said they're sending my info over to the hiring manager.
that's great. Congratulations. Okay, I know you've been trying to get in there for a while. Excellent. Okay, and I see Michelle Evans.
Hi. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? I'm making
We
sure
can.
all
We
right.
can hear you.
So what I've done is I decided to try to increase my presence on LinkedIn. So I started posting little like personal stories. I started last Friday, did one on um Sunday, and I'm going to do one today. And I've been getting a lot of impressions and getting a lot of visibility. So I'm definitely doing that, which is different for me. I did get someone reach out to me, a recruiter, but and I guess this leads to the topic for today. I had a recruiter reach out to me, and I responded to her. Then she asked me for my resume. Before I did that, I did some research, made sure it was a real company. She was
Good.
a real, she was a real recruiter and everything. And what happened was on Monday, she's like, okay, send me your resume. I sent it. When can we talk? I was like, I'm available today. I could do 2 o'clock. She goes, okay, I could do, she said she could do two. And 2 o'clock came, nothing. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, absolutely nothing. I sent a follow-up email, not a word.
Unfortunately, that happens. But yes, we could absolutely, that's a great example. We can talk about that again in a minute. Bring it back up.
Okay.
Okay, you checked her out on LinkedIn, the recruiter?
Yes.
Did you, inside or outside?
I'm sorry.
Was it an inside recruiter working for a company or a search firm?
I think she was inside. She was inside.
Okay,
Like I was questioning her picture because it looked kind of AI-ish and it was a little distorted. But then I saw the company did like a happy birthday to a bunch of people in February, and she was one of the people. So I don't know.
if, remember her name so that we can bring up her profile later and take a look.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Michael,
Yes, so about almost like 2 months ago, when I left my last job, I was I had a headhunter wanted to get some references from me. So I basically touched base with some of my previous coworkers, and one of them actually steered me towards some contract work, which I'm currently doing. It's going to last maybe 2 months. But it was, something coming in, and it was surprising that to him that like he hadn't thought of me until I called him and say, "Hey, will you be a reference?" So I think that was a pretty good win. Um,
Absolutely. And
and
it's
then
also a reminder that people don't know you're looking
right,
unless you let them know.
exactly. And I had a job interview last week. I just kind of had cold called them, sent them my resume, and it's rather nebulous at this point. The guy said it could be like 2 to 3 months before they could make a decision. So and he was kind of one of those interviews where they pump you for information like how would you approach this project. It's down to a very detailed level. So he got that information from me. Whether or not he'll use that without considering me for another interview or not, I'm not really sure at this point.
Okay, so be careful with some of those because when they pick your brain too much, it's almost like free consulting. They
Yeah,
use your information without being able to compensate you for it.
right.
And that is one of the things, unfortunately, we're seeing more of, especially as people are asking those detailed scenario questions or giving you those homework assignments. Okay, so story for another day, but congratulations, that all sounds great. And the idea of contract work, as you all know, we've talked about that a lot. Contract work is a great way of adding additional information, not only to your resume, but to your skill set, building up those connections, okay, and those people in your network. In addition, it gives you that opportunity to try something you might not have before. When you're doing a contract, you absolutely want to be able to include it both on LinkedIn and on your resume. But in addition, anytime you're in a contract, never stop looking. There is an unwritten rule that every internal recruiter knows. If you are in a contract work, we are in effect telling you that we know this job isn't going to last. Okay, you're here for the project. And if you find something full-time, you find something in a different way of doing things with another company, even though you have a contract for X number of weeks, months, whatever, I know I can cancel that contract at any time. I'm willing to let you leave that contract. I may be unhappy, but I'm willing to let you leave that contract at any time to move on to something else. So always be looking for that next opportunity, whether it's contract or whether it's permanent role. And by the way, permanent is a misnomer. There are no permanent jobs anymore. It is a next forever role. It is not a permanent job, either from your standpoint or from the company's standpoint. Okay, excellent. Okay. Anyone else have anything to share? Okay, Michael, thank you for introducing yourself because you were also put it in the chat that you were new. Okay, anyone else new who wants to introduce themselves? Okay, before we get into the topic of the day, I have a question for you all. Several months ago, we did a roundtable discussion, and it was brought up by one of our people who said that she really wanted to talk about how are people getting successful at whatever it is they're doing. It was a very broad topic. I would like to do another roundtable discussion, but I want to know what kinds of things you would like to talk about, because in a roundtable discussion, you all lead it. I facilitate it, but it's you sharing your ideas, your questions, and support from one another. Okay, as opposed to me leading the discussion and giving you all my advice. I'm going to do that anyway. I can't help myself. But what kinds of topics would you like? If you have a specific topic that you're interested in, boss hunting emails is one I see in the chat. Okay. Sherry, you mentioned that in another Lunch and Learn. Okay. Other kinds of things that you all would like to talk about. Here's some of my ideas, okay, that may or may not be useful to you. One of the things that we've been talking about a lot is training opportunities. Where do you find the classes that you're looking for? What classes have you found that are good? And maybe we do a sharing of that. David, you've got an idea.
Yeah, well, in terms of ideas for future sessions, I guess.
Yes.
I am networking more and more and getting comfortable talking to people, but I'm not yet talking to the people I need to talk to get to the hiring manager or to the recruiter that gets me to the hiring manager. So I guess my idea would be how to do that or ways of doing that.
Okay, so ways of trying to find out who the right people would be or making those connections.
Yeah, how to talk to person A to person B to person C, who's the hiring manager, that kind of thing. Not just talking to anybody. I mean, it's fine to talk to people in this group, but they're not like in the company or they're not hiring me or they would not be hiring me. So
Okay.
that's the difference.
Sure, when you say ditto to David Mills, you're talking about how to find the right people?
Yeah, Sherry agrees with me.
Okay.
And there's all kinds of information on the subject, but mhm.
Okay, I see something about following up. We can do that as well. Is there a roundtable discussion you want, or do you want to just do it as one of these lunch and learns where I'm kind of leading the discussion? You all need to tell me.
I'd rather have a discussion led than just a
By me?
free-for-all. Yeah.
Okay, then we're gonna do something else. We will do another roundtable when we have more ideas about what kinds of things to do. Understand what is working for others. We've done that once before, Sherry, and I think we can do that again and share that. Okay. Do you want to do another one? What kinds of things, sharing the things that are working for you all? If you think that's useful, please put a Y in the chat. If you don't, put an N. One, two, three. Okay. So far, I'm seeing some Ys. I'm not seeing any Ns. Is that something that you all would like to do next week? Is that kind of a roundtable discussion again? What's been working for you and giving people ideas? David, we're going to get to the topic in a minute. All right. Then that's what we're going to do next week. We're going to do a roundtable discussion about sharing the things that are working. So think about some of the things that are working for you, some of the questions you have, and see how we can do that. What we'll do is the same thing we did last time. After we do that kind of a roundtable discussion, I'm taking notes to see what things really resonate and what things we can use to build out new sessions as we're moving forward. I'm building out sessions now for August and moving forward. We've got our calendar set for the rest of July. So we're going to go there. All right. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. Not just fake recruiters, but fake messages. How many of you have gotten some of these fake messaging requests? Fake recruiting requests, okay? Yeah. Yes, me. They're ridiculous. They're everywhere. I got another one this morning. I had somebody who did it in response to, she'd signed up for the Lunch and Learn and hadn't registered. So I sent her a message saying you have to register. And she sent me back a fake request, fake messaging. Okay. So David, you said you have a story from last week. You want to share it?
Mhm. Oh, sure. So I got messaged, not on my normal Gmail, but on my Comcast email from this lady by the name of Nancy Penna, who is supposedly representing Bechtel Corporation, big global engineering company out of Texas. And the problem was her email. It's supposed to be like Nancy P at Bechtel.com, but it was Nancy.talent HJ or something different. And apparently that's fraud right there. But she had a job description. She had me send her my resume, which was panned, and I was passed on to a resume specialist. I don't even know if it's a different person who charged me $50 to get it right up to snuff.
No,
Guess I shouldn't
ever,
have done that.
never,
Yeah,
ever pay for that.
for a resume specialist.
Wait a minute, for a resume specialist. I thought you said this was a job that they had.
Well, the idea was to get my resume up to their standards so I could be moved along.
No,
But apparently that was fraud and I didn't see it at the time.
that's a red flag.
Okay.
Okay. No company should ever charge you to get their resume up to standards for them.
So
They can make,
if I send my resume and they work on it, that should be free,
and,
right?
and who's working on it?
So that's a good question. It might have been AI for all I know.
And not only that, okay, you've gotten several red flags from that particular message. The email
Mhm.
address wasn't right.
Hmm.
Okay. Did you check the company to see whether or not the position was actually open?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Hmm.
So
I
those
guess
are some
I
of the
got
red flags
excited
that
too
you,
fast, basically.
we all do.
Yeah.
Okay. We
It was
all get
just
this.
encouraging enough to keep me on the string, as it were.
I understand. Okay. And that's one of the problems with leads is that they look real. They sound real. And when we're in job search and you're looking for that next forever opportunity, it's really easy to be tempted because you want it. You want somebody to think that you want to think that somebody really liked you. Okay. And saw what was there and that they're moving you forward. That's
I'm
one of
sorry,
the
but
problems.
I checked out her LinkedIn profile, which had over 25,000 connections. So it looked legit at that point, but then there's all this other stuff. So
Okay.
yeah, they go through a lot of work to do this.
They absolutely do.
Mm.
Okay. Mary, you said you got a message just today that you're still trying to figure out whether or not it's fake. Can you share that with us?
Yeah, sure. Hi, Linda and everybody. I'm actually leaning towards thinking that it was fake or is fake. But yes, received a note from a recruiter saying, "Hey, your background looks like a good fit for this editorial position with WebMD, and it's based in New Jersey. You'd have to come into the office 3 days a week." And I responded and said, "Well, I'm in Chicago, so this isn't going to work for me." And then the recruiter wrote back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see that. This position," and she meant to type, "is now fully remote," but she had typos in there, so I couldn't even tell what she was saying. And
Yeah.
it's those seem like red flags to me. And she also sent the job description in a downloadable file, and I asked her if she could send it in, cut and paste it into the message, and she said no.
Okay. So you had several different red flags there. Okay. Good catch. And I'm going to show you another way to check them. So one of them, the misspellings, that's a red flag. Not having read the profile enough to know where you were located.
Mhm.
Okay. If the job is something that requires being in office, you're in Chicago, the job is in New York, obviously not a match, right?
Yes.
Says she didn't read it or he. Not being able to copy and paste it into the posting is another. Third is check to see where the company is, where the position is located and look at the position itself on the company's website. I'm assuming this was supposedly an outside recruiter.
Yes, and I didn't see it on WebMD's openings when I went to their site.
Third red flag,
Mhm.
okay?
Yes, thank you for
Anytime they're
confirming.
asking you to click on a link, red flag, guys.
Mhm.
Clicking on some of those links we've discovered, especially recently, leads you to malicious areas or where they're trying to pull information from your computer. Do not click on those links unless you know that it is absolutely legitimate. Okay. Where was the email address from? Was it her name at?
Yes, she's on the company website, and her LinkedIn profile looks legit. But the one thing that gave me pause is when I clicked on their site, and they have offices allegedly across the country. But when I was scrolling down, the website has a trademark of 2025 on it, and I was
No.
like they just created it now and they have all these offices, and that was another thing that gave me pause.
Yeah. Again, that could easily be a red flag.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank
My
you.
gut tells me, no, if the job isn't posted on their website or the company, avoid it.
Mhm. Thank you. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Anybody else got a current one that they have that they want to share? Okay. Aaron,
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting a bunch over text message and WhatsApp message, and I know those can never be correct, but I just Googled the one I got today that was text message because it was, a company that I knew. They said, I'm a recruiter at Qualtrics. My name is Adina. And so I just went to LinkedIn and there was like somebody had posted like, there's no Adina from Qualtrics. Like, this is a scam.
yep.
But yeah, I mean, people are these ones that say like, you get paid this much per day.
If it looks
Horrible
too good to
message,
be
but
true, it's
yeah.
not, right?
No.
Okay, but going to the company website is a good thing. Going to LinkedIn is to use it. Absolutely.
Yeah, my best
Okay.
friend sent me one the other day, said she got an email and it was like, said they were Costco and it was a similar kind of red flag of like, this much per day or something. I'm like, no, that's
Yeah.
not,
No.
that's not legit. Thanks though.
Yeah, I agree, kind of nice to feel wanted even if it's not real.
Yeah.
Good eye though. Okay, so there are a couple of things in some of these messages that are automatic red flags. Aaron just mentioned one. Salary for the hours, too good to be true, automatically. Red flag, walk away. Number two. Another one would be if, sorry, Mary, I missed it. If somebody's asking you to communicate over WhatsApp, red flag, walk away. If they want to interview you over text, walk away. Red flag. Now, we are finding legitimate companies are reaching out to candidates if you have already applied, okay, by text to set up an interview. But set up an interview on the company's site, okay, you've already applied, you know that part is legit. Yes, Aaron, you're shaking your head.
I was just gonna say, yeah, I've seen that. Like they have automated things. When you're applying, you can opt in to receive text message updates, and then that's legit. And it looks like an automated message, and that's
It is.
totally fine.
Yeah, it's usually we got your message and so on. But we are finding some companies who have decided that they want to reach out to people for that initial, let's set up an interview through text messaging, but only if you have actually applied. Otherwise, they have no way of getting what that message, that phone number is in order to be able to text you. So that's an issue. Yes, sure. Do you want to turn on your camera?
No,
Okay, that's all right.
not today. Maybe another time. Okay, so I understand, I get the idea with, the company needing to have the job description on their website if it's a direct employer, but I'm finding that a lot of third party and recruiters do not. What are your thoughts on that?
You're right. Third-party recruiters will not post all their jobs on their website. It may still be posted on the company's website, and it should be, unless it is a confidential job. Now, putting on my recruiting hat, the only jobs that should not be posted on a company's website would be those where I am trying to replace somebody who is already there, and they don't know their job is being replaced. Okay, that's what's called a confidential search. And there may be some legitimate searches like that. I used to do a number of them. So it may not show up on the company's website, but it could still be a legitimate job.
Okay,
Let me finish, Sherry.
yes.
I'm sorry. But if the outside recruiter says, I can't tell you who the company is, red flag, walk away. Did I answer that question?
Well, this particular website that I am looking at right now, I got a message, LinkedIn message today. And this website doesn't have any jobs at all. It just said submit resume, attract employers, share your resume and impress employers.
No,
No? It's a
No.
red flag?
It's a red flag.
Okay.
Is there a link for you to click?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
It says explore jobs and there aren't any jobs there.
No. Red
Okay.
flag.
All right. So it's like a fake company even. They actually,
Yep.
okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Jason. There you go.
Hi, sorry, it took me a minute to unmute. So actually 2 questions. One, how can you tell the difference between a fake recruiter, whether through email or LinkedIn, and a third-party staffing firm who is reaching out to you for a legit role? That's
Even a
question one.
third, right. Even if the third party staffing firm, they should have a legitimate profile on LinkedIn. Their company page as that recruiting firm should list them. In addition, there should be reasonable jobs on that company page, even if they are not listing the name of the company that those jobs are for.
Okay.
Do you
And
have
then-
go ahead.
And then my other question is, for individuals who work as third-party staffing recruiters, third-party firm recruiters, is it true that some of their personal performance metrics are based on the number of times they reach out, either via phone or email?
Yes.
So,
Third-party staffing companies often are measured on the number of outreach calls they make, as well as the number of candidates they bring in. Absolutely. Whether they're legitimate or not.
so if and I guess maybe for everybody, but just a general question. So if I get an email from somebody, a recruiter, and my first concern or kind of analysis is it a fake recruiter or a third-party staffing firm where it's an individual who it's a real role, real person who's reaching out. Once I go through that analysis and I understand, let's say it's a real individual, they have a real role, real company, right? How do I respond if they're asking for constant phone calls and or just going back and forth through email, if that's a performance metric for them? Meaning, let's say I'm not available and I say I'm not available, but they try calling me anyway. They're doing it, I'm assuming, based on their own performance metrics. But if I'm not available, I'm not going to answer. So my guess in that situation is they'll continue to try to contact because it helps them versus that candidate experience. So how do you communicate a message back to them to kind of tell them in a professional, friendly way to stop reaching out to me and that, I will reach out to them when I'm available?
So number one, I wouldn't do that. I would reach out when you're available. What I would do is, we're both very busy people. Why don't we set an appointment time so that we can both be available?
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. It's so simple, but I've heard through various sources, and you're another to confirm that, these people are very much about their own success versus that candidate experience, which when you're the candidate, it's the complete opposite. You want that experience versus doing everything you can to support their performance.
You also want to make sure that it's legitimate and they have somebody there. And you're right, Aaron. It is a red flag if somebody keeps contacting you without response, or you keep contacting them and there's no response. Either way.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. I saw another hand up. Sherry, I see yours. Is there anybody else? Did somebody put their hand down? Sherry, did you have another question?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, can you lower your hand, please? There you go. Any other questions? Any other examples before I start showing you some of mine? Oh, right to represent. Outside response. Okay, or recruiter response. Yes, they may do that because, again, they want to, for their own internal metrics. I get more of these candidates who say they're going to work with me. If you ever agree with a right to represent, it is a right to represent for one position or one company only. You get to modify that. Because otherwise, they're going to try and claim you for a variety of things, and you don't want that. You want the ability to continue to reach out to companies on your own. And right to represent should go away if they do not submit you actually for that position. So you get to modify that if you want to. I'll tell you, outside recruiters don't like it because it makes them do more work. But a right to represent should only be signed when they are getting actually ready to submit you to that company and for that position or that company only. If they're saying you have to do a broad right to represent for anything, for an unspecified period of time, to me, that's a red flag for that recruiter. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, so I just had a recent thing. So it was like 2 months ago, one particular company that I've actually interviewed with before years ago, and she wanted my resume and submitted me, apparently. I kept checking in, and it's like, no word, no word. And now a new position opened up at the company, but the one recruiter said, well, I don't know if I can present you if you're already being represented by so-and-so. Is that actually factual?
It is factual. Now, well, yes and no. Are both recruiters at the same firm?
No, one's with Randstad, one's with RHM.
So the answer is absolutely, it is true. And here's the reason why. Companies, once you're in their system as coming from Randstad, okay, for 6 months to a year, you belong to Randstad. And any position that I interview you for, okay,
Yeah.
from the legal standpoint, Randstad can come back and say they got hired. You only would have found them because I sent them in, and they want a share of the commission.
So do I have to like pound on this woman's door to say, hey, you need to present me for this other position now?
How long has it been?
It's been about 2 months since you took the first resume for the first
Okay.
position. So
yes, you can go back. It's also possible that Randstad doesn't have the ability to present the candidates for that role. Okay. So outside recruiters, a little bit of insight. Unless somebody is specifically hired and tasked to work for every position for a company, which is very rare, okay, they have to go to the company each time and say, gee, I've got some great candidates. May I send you some candidates for this role and get the okay? Otherwise, it's called an unsolicited resume and will automatically be rejected.
Okay.
So there are good points and bad points about working with outside recruiters. One is that they sometimes have that in because others may not. But if you are working with an outside recruiter and you send yourself in for a position with that company, you cannot go in on your own for a position or within 6 months normally for any other roles on that company site without that recruiter. Okay, it's that same trigger.
Yeah.
Okay, now some companies are hopefully moving back to 3 months, but this is an internal legal situation from their contracting department that we have their control.
Oh.
So here's
right.
my recommendation, folks. If it is a company that's in your target area, follow them on your own. Connect with their people. Comment on their posts. Okay. And if you're really interested, go in on your own rather than waiting for that outside recruiter.
I can
If
do
you're
that.
okay.
I can just submit on my own.
You can, but again, if it's only been 2 months since that recruiter sent you in,
Yeah.
same department, same type of position,
Same, very similar position. Yeah.
then Randstad or whoever the recruiting firm is can claim you.
Okay. Well, I guess I will actually had a call because the recruiter asked, could you send me who it was, and a different recruiter, and he called this morning, but I missed his call, so I don't know what he's got to say.
Yeah.
He's probably going to say exactly what so.
So in many cases, if it's this, that's why I asked whether it was from the same firm or a different
Mhm.
firm. If it's in the same firm, you can talk to Joe and Mary and Sally. Okay, they can all submit you for separate positions and it's okay.
Mhm.
But Randstad and Robert Half cannot submit you for the same position at the same time.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry. Julie, would you like to turn your camera on?
I can't, I have to restart my computer.
Oh, that's okay. So just talk to us.
So I had two questions. One is, so should a recruiter who reaches out to me, they should tell me what company they're sending me to, right?
Before they actually submit your resume, you should ask them, and they should be willing to tell you which company it is. And some of them are going to be reluctant. And they want to be reluctant because they don't want you going in on your own, right? But if they're already saying, I'm going to submit you, you get the right to say yes or no. And one way to get them around that avoidance of, I don't want to tell you who the company is. Look, I want to protect both of us. I've been applying a lot. And I want to make sure that number one, the role is a good fit for both of us, but also that I haven't already applied to that company because I don't want to put you in an awkward position. You get the right to say yes or no to an outside recruiter to the company that they're sending you to.
Okay. And then
Okay.
the question is, so I was approached by a recruiter. They didn't have a JD, no job description. So I just created a resume based on the minimal information I had. They did give me the name of the company, but I thought they would normally have a job description.
They should. Did you go to the company's website since they gave you the name of the company to find the position?
I did, there was no job position on the website. It's a contract role. So it would be like 8 months or something, or a
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
So it wasn't on their website, but
Yeah.
the company was legit.
Yeah. So contract roles are a little different. Contract roles, we may not have an actual job description. Well, should have a project listing, what kinds of things they're looking for. An outside recruiter cannot send in qualified candidates unless they know what the company's looking for. So ask them to send that to you if they don't have a full job description.
Okay. Then I did do that. I did submit. I haven't heard back, so I just followed up to find out the status. But they cannot submit me for other jobs without asking my permission, even though they have my resume, right?
In that company or
Yeah.
outside that company?
Outside that company.
Outside, they should not. Some do. But you want to tell them that every time they send you in, you want to know who it is before they actually submit your resume to make sure it's a good fit for you, and also that you haven't already applied to that position.
Yeah, because I got burned years ago when I submitted it to a recruiter and I applied to the company and they said, "Oh, this recruiter," and they didn't tell me. They were not supposed to submit my name and they did.
Oh,
And then
yeah.
I was just very burned by recruiters and I stopped. I just did
Yep.
not go anywhere near them. Then I have a separate question. How do I get these spam texts about jobs if my phone number is not even on my profile?
Isn't that amazing? I have no idea. Okay, but there are programs out there which will, the same way that there are programs that can help you find an email address, there are programs that can help you find a phone number.
Oh.
And some companies are doing that. Do you have your resume posted anywhere?
No.
Good. Okay, because that's another way that they can pull that information. But I'm getting them both. I have 2 cell phones, one for my business and one for me. And I'm getting them on both phones. It's amazing.
All right. Thank
If
you.
they're coming in on your cell phone,
Yes,
lock and report.
that's what I do. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Another question. Mhm. Yeah. What if they're verified on LinkedIn? Okay, so let me go through a couple of these profile messages. Let me see if I can do this. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen and see whether we can do several things at the same time.
And Linda, whenever you're ready, I can also give you that recruiter's name too, whenever you're ready.
Perfect. I'll bring up LinkedIn and we'll look at it. Okay, can you see my message app, my LinkedIn with messaging?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to bring this one up. I've got several different tabs that I wanted to be able to show people, but let's start with this one. So I got this one this morning. Okay. It is an InMail, supposedly. See if I can make it bigger. Okay. Saw my credentials on LinkedIn. You're a great match for a project we're currently working on. Please provide your phone number and we can set up a call to chat. Now, is there anything here that raises any red flags for you?
Yeah, no
They don't
picture,
address you by name.
No photo?
no photo,
No photo.
and no
No-
company.
No photo, no company. Absolutely. Guys, if you don't have a photo associated with your profile, it's an automatic red flag. Make your picture available to anyone on LinkedIn, not just first level connections. So that's number one. Number two, temporary recruitment staff for what? For who? Right? Not addressing me by name. Great match for what kind of a project? What credentials did they see that they were interested in? Forgive me, Joan Jackson just sounds fake to me to begin with. I know it's not necessarily, but that automatically says it to me. So if I were to do that, let's say that we were going to go through, you could, if you wanted to, write back, say, interesting, tell me more about the project and what credentials intrigued you. In all likelihood, you're not going to get a response. You could also go to this person, okay? What kinds of red flags do you see here?
It's a blank
No
profile.
contacts.
I'm sorry?
No connections.
Connections.
No connections.
It's a
No
blank
picture.
profile. It looks like a dummy
Yeah.
profile.
It
Yep.
does.
Okay.
Yeah, no followers. No, there's really no
No
activity there.
post.
There's no
No
employer.
activity, no nothing. Okay. Yeah. The roundabout, by the way, for many of us, one of the other red flags, and it's something that you can check, doesn't always work, but the contact information, if the contact information automatically goes back just to the LinkedIn profile, that's something that you want to change. Yours should not go there as well. You want to have either an email address or a phone number there so people can get a hold of you. Next, New York, New York. Yeah, US, no information, nothing there. Viewed my profile. Yeah, right. Never posted, no connections. Red flag, automatic. Now, so what am I going to do with this? I'm going to go here to more. And I'm going to go to report and block. First comment would probably to be block, right? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to report the entire account. This account is not a real person. And then I'm going to submit the report. You can then go back in if you want to and block them. Okay, well, now I want to block them. But report the profile first, then block. You're not reporting it as spam, you were reporting it as a fake profile. Okay, somebody said that they had a name of a recruiter to check out.
It's Michelle.
Hey, Michelle,
Her name is Juliana Spicer.
can you spell it?
First name is Juilanna, and Spicer, Spicer.
Okay, let's check her out.
Yeah, that's her.
Okay, I'm going to view the profile.
Oh, you look like you got a mutual connection.
Ericon, that doesn't necessarily mean anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, you'll notice that this profile has been verified. Sherry, you asked a question about verification. Okay, I like the verification. It doesn't always mean anything, but it's better than not. So I'm going to look at the about the profile. Joined in 2021, updated that. So the profile was verified using the company's work email address. That's one way of saying it might be legitimate. By the way, I do recommend verifying your profile, but verify it on your own, not through your company. Now I want to look at what she does. That looks interesting. Looks legit so far. Now I'm going to go to posts. They're hiring for these positions several months ago. What raised your suspicions?
Well, like I said, I researched it. First I was looking at her profile picture. I'm like, that doesn't look real. But then I did everything that you did. I'm like, okay, she seems like she's legit. I did check the company website about the position that she sent to me. It's not up there, but again, it's probably, I was like, well, maybe they just haven't advertised it yet, or like you said, who knows, they might try to replace somebody and didn't want people to know. I don't know. And she, cut and pasted it in there. I think that one other thing that kind of had a flag was she didn't use my name. She just said, oh, here's this, here's this position. And the fact that she, we went through all that thing to set up a time and then never responded to me again.
Yep, I agree, red flag. So one of the other things we can do is I'm going to go to the company's web page here on LinkedIn. I'm going to go to people. And I'm going to search. Okay, did find her associated with the company. There it is. Again, may or may not be legitimate, but so far I'm not seeing any red flags other than the fact that she didn't respond to you and follow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just rude. I guess that's it.
Very.
But
Okay. So the other thing that I would do would be to reach out to her on LinkedIn. Message her.
Oh, that's what I did. That's where our communication was. And it was like 1:30, we confirmed 2:00. And I was like, great, okay, look forward to speaking with you. And at 2:00, nothing. 2:30, 3, 4. I'm like, I could have ran some errands. I'm sitting here waiting.
Yeah.
And so I sent a follow-up. I'm like, I hope all is well. Because sometimes things happen.
Yep.
And
still hasn't gotten back to you.
No,
How did she want to talk? Did she want to talk by phone?
by phone, by phone.
Did she give you a phone number at the company?
No, no, I think she was just using my number for my resume, I guess.
So you were supposed to reach out to her to set it up? You were going to call her?
No, we set up the call via LinkedIn, and she was going to call me.
Okay. All right.
And then she's a technical recruiter, and I don't, it just seems like recruiters, different because I'm looking for HR positions, and it was an employee experience um, position, but again, it was like employee experience, like analyst or something like that.
Yeah.
So maybe that's tied
So
in with
that also
technical
tells me
recruiter.
that it's not real. Here's another thing. What I just did is I went in and looked at her contact information.
Mm-hmm.
This is a technical recruiter who hasn't changed her LinkedIn URL.
Mm. Yeah, not to have all those numbers behind it.
Yep. Okay. So there are several red flags there, but the big one is just that it's rude. Okay. All right. Let me look at another one.
Thank you.
I know we're running past time, but I really wanted to show you some things. Because there are some legitimate recruiters out there who are finding that their profiles are being cloned and people are sending out messages in their name. Sarah Johnson is a very legitimate recruiter, and people are sending out fake interview requests about this. Okay. And they're using her name and her profile to do this. What she's saying is don't click on any links, don't provide any personal information.
Wait a second. People will actually use somebody else's legitimate profile?
What they're doing is they're cloning it.
They're what?
Okay. We're finding that either they are cloning it or they're spoofing it. And I'm not sure how that works, David, but we're finding that it happens sometimes. There's a slight change in the way that that's listed. So instead of, okay, it could be listed in the contact information is Sarah.Johnson. It could be whatever, but it's not real. So you'll know that the message itself is wrong because we reviewed your background and we're impressed by your background. Looking for it here. If you see this, here's a click to do this. Do not click on some of these links. Reach out and find people to talk to. So let me see what I've got. Let's see. Here's another one. People are stealing your LinkedIn identity. Don't click on links about some of these. I will post some of these in our private chat as well, in our private group. Oh, I forgot to mention that in our private group, I will add some of these links. By the way, if you haven't joined our private group, please do so. Okay. Here's another one. I noticed your post. What was the post about? What's there? Okay. Let me see. Oh, what's another one? Nope. All right. I'm going to stop share for a moment and go to something else so that I can share something else with you. And in the chat, I want to add in private group before I forget. This is the one I wanted. I'm not sure which document I'm sharing. Is this the one? Can you see one here that says, nope, that's not. What is the document you see that I'm sharing? Does it say Ricky Morales, O'Reilly Morales?
I
noticed your post. I noticed your post. Is
Yeah.
it possible to send me more information?
Ah, okay. Thank you. So I noticed your post. Would it be possible to send me more information about your services and programs? Would you like to connect and learn more? Or I'd like to. And then you have no idea what the post is all about, which one they saw, which one they liked. When you connect or comment on that, they're going to send you information back about the services. Stop the share. Let's see there, I can't do this again, because this is the one I wanted to show you. One of the problems, it's a learning experience, right? Too many things on the screen at the same time. Let's see whether this is the right one. Nope, this is one that's just talking about one of those, it's too good to be true. It's too good to be true, it is. This is the one I want. Unfortunately, there are so many of these posts out there. And I apologize, it's a learning experience for me. I have too many things open on my screen at the same time. This is the one I want. So let's try this one again. Nope. All right. Having troubles here. Sorry about that, guys. Let's try this one. After that, I'm giving up. There we go. Now, can you see the one that says Ricky Morales? For those of you who are still here?
Riley Morales, yes.
Yes, Riley Morales. Okay. I wanted to show you this one because there's some very obvious red flags here. See whether you can point out what some of them are.
IXXXX. You wouldn't
I'm
say
sorry?
that.
Well, no,
It's
I
just I.
took out the name.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
The job titles.
Yep. Job title here is Senior Marketing Manager.
And then it says
Job-
they're hiring for developers.
Yep.
Ah,
Okay. Hiring for a variety of different things, right? Marketing manager isn't going to hire for developers. Title is different up at the top than it is here at the bottom.
The requirements don't match what a marketing manager does. JavaScript.
Yep.
Python? No.
Yep. Okay. So a marketing manager isn't going to be hiring for these technical roles. The titles are different in both cases. It's trying to make you believe that there's something going on here that is right. No legitimate email or in-mail is going to say sponsored.
And then it says, what's it, complete our interest form so we can see if there's a role that matches your skill set. I thought they knew.
And that's exactly right. Yeah. So and that's a clickable link to do that. Don't ever, ever do that. Okay. If you've had a legitimate conversation with somebody and they're sending you a link, that's one thing. But on these very broad-based emails or messages or in-mails, whatever they are, those links can really cause problems. Talking to somebody yesterday who said that $67,000 had been pulled from her account because she clicked on one of those links. We don't know how it managed to do it, but it did. Okay. I had a woman that I knew that she was a PhD. She should have known better. Okay. She got caught up in one of those as well.
Wow.
Okay. Don't do it. Be very, very careful. If you're ever concerned, check with me and I'll help you walk through whether or not it's real. But don't just respond. They're asking for messages on WhatsApp. It's not real. If they're asking you to communicate with them on WhatsApp, it's not real. If they're asking you to do a lot of communicating by text, it's not real. Setting up an appointment. Okay, give us a call so that we can set up an appointment and using that as a text message. That may be one thing, but the rest of them, it's really not. Yes, Marianne, it's incredibly annoying. More importantly, they are really having the problems, causing problems on the platform. Now, one of the things we are finding is that LinkedIn is starting to listen. If you are reporting the profile as a fake profile, LinkedIn is starting to pay attention. If you're just reporting it as spam, they're really not. So if you're concerned, I had somebody ask me earlier, what happens if I report it and it's real? Don't worry about it. I'd rather you reported it as a fake profile and be wrong than let it continue to go. Now, if you're reporting it and you've reported 10 and all 10 are real and you've said that they're all fake, LinkedIn may worry about you. So do your due diligence first. But the more they hear that these profiles are fake, the more likely they are to actually remove them. And we're starting to see LinkedIn remove some of those fake profiles. Now, that doesn't mean that somebody isn't going to go out and create another one right away. They may. So we have to continually monitor that process. Yeah, I don't know why people are doing it. It's wasting their time. It's wasting ours. It's an issue that's going to continue to grow. We are going to continue to talk about it. One of the things that I want you to do, if you're looking at somebody's profile to see whether or not it's real, especially if you're getting the, I'd like to know more. You get those comments on your posts all the time, or sometimes you get them as a message in LinkedIn. I got one today responding to something. Gee, that sounds interesting. I'd like to know more. It had nothing to do with the original comment or post. But you see those, if you go to that person's profile, check out their comments. And you'll see lots of comments that look exactly the same. It's that bot-generated comments, that AI-generated comment. That's a profile that I immediately report as fake. If it is on a post of yours and somebody's making those comments, if you wrote the post, you can remove that comment from the post. But what I would do first is that I would first report the comment as fake and then remove the comment from the post itself. Yes, Sharon.
I just sent you a link. There's a lady that's supposed to call me momentarily. I was wondering if, and I can send you the message that she sent to me if you want to see that. But I mean, it's based on, you know, what you've been telling us here today.
I'm looking at her profile right now, or whatever this is.
I'll copy and paste her initial message.
Okay, so I'm seeing a couple of things right now. There we go. So she's supposed to contact you about what?
The job is a strategic storytelling lead / narrative design lead.
Okay. Do you know the name of the company?
Her company name is, give me a second here. I tried to copy and paste it, it's too long. Her company name is Brilfy, BRILLFY Technology, Brilfy.com, I think.
I've got it up. So I'm going to go to the company's site. No, it's there.
They only have one job posted. They're a third-party recruiter.
Okay. So I would go to the RIF, whatever it is, BRIFFY. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have it. That's the one I told you about, where they don't have any jobs posted at all. Except
On their site?
On their website. That's the one that just said upload your resume. And then their company LinkedIn page only shows one job that they're hiring for.
Yeah.
It seems odd.
It does seem odd.
You click on jobs and you only see one. At least that's all I saw. Yeah.
Yeah. People.
They've got 70 people.
This one looks funny to me.
It does to me too.
Always follow your gut.
Something from 6 months ago.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Right.
Where they located, Richardson, Texas. Maybe you can check and see. What bothered me was when I was looking at it. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it might be legit, Sherry, but I would have some concerns.
Oh, wait, don't stay there for 1 second. Because she called me. All right, so it does have the same area code from what she called. She called me while after we started the call here, and I told her that I was in a meeting. So
Okay.
So the area code starts the same, at least, as what you're showing there.
So it may be, I'd say, talk to her. Is she talking to you by
Phone.
telephone or by?
Phone.
Okay. Get more information before you let her send you in.
She did. I did send her my resume, though. It's got my email address and my phone number on it.
Right. But I said before you let her send you into a company, you want to find additional information.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Maybe legit, may not. About the profile, let me see. Verified again through the company, using the company's email address less than 6 months ago. Interesting. Everything was just updated 6 months ago. Not a bad thing.
Right, okay. So
Okay?
it's just to have a conversation with the lady then.
Have a conversation, but be careful about what you send in.
Right,
And the 6 months ago is when she, oh no, actually it was when she joined Briefing. So that's probably when she updated your information.
Yeah, the website is actually interesting too. So Brilfi.com. It
Mhm.
looks like it's very generic.
yes.
Yeah, that is one of the things that concerned me a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay. If she's going to be active on LinkedIn and if a company's really doing a lot of recruiting, if they're now third-party recruiter, they should have a number of positions posted, not just one.
I agree.
Yeah, they have no clients. So
Yeah.
just,
Clients,
well, yeah, I just pushed the button that said clients and it has none.
There's nothing there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not just looking on LinkedIn, it's looking elsewhere as well.
right.
Okay. One
They
of
do
the
have
good
a,
things.
they have a legal
ahead.
department.
Well, that's good. Where's the legal department located?
Yeah. Just says legal and you can't touch it. You can't go through with it. So
Yeah. Okay. So check the company website, check their LinkedIn presence, both as a company and as the individual. Okay.
yeah, it doesn't click through. The legal privacy policy, terms and conditions and license don't go through.
Really? Is that at the bottom of the
Okay.
page?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So there are lots and lots of red flags.
And
for those that
2023
you
was
can
the last
check.
time they were copyrighted on their website.
Yeah.
Oh,
So sometimes a website will say 2025. That
Yeah.
just means that they updated it. It doesn't mean that
Right.
it was written for the very first time.
Right. So, all right.
Okay.
yeah, the license isn't doing anything. Oh, yeah, okay. I'm gonna walk carefully with this one.
Walk very carefully. Okay. All right. What else? So this was apparently for me at least, it was an interesting conversation. Is this one that we should continue and do again? Or a topic that's worth covering again?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. So we'll do that. We'll do that maybe as another discussion. I'm also going to share some of those links into our private group. If you haven't joined the private group, please do so. It's another way of networking, sharing, connecting, and providing information and resources.